Hi and welcome back. I'm wearing my nice earphones because it's late and I don't want to make too much noise because my daughter is sleeping. My brother's not, so you might hear him laugh in the background because he has found some amusement over the phone during these quarantine times. All right, so today I just want to look at the president's speech, which today is the 21st of April. At 8:30, the president addressed the nation on developments since the lockdown, which commenced mid-March. So, I have the speech, and if you want a copy, there's a link, and you can download the copy for yourself and have a read and be informed on what's actually going on in terms of strategies that are being implemented. He starts off, my fellow South Africans. I'm glad you guys didn't break your TVs. Okay. The speech is 7 pages long. No, I won't keep you up that long. It has 228 lines. Yes, I counted, I numbered them. Okay, my fellow South Africans, it is 25 days since South Africa has begun a nationwide lockdown to contain the spread of the virus. True? 25? 10 to go? It has demanded of you great fortitude and endurance. It has caused you much suffering and required much sacrifice. Once again, I salute you and I thank you. Okay. So, we've been at home since mid-March, kind of closer to the end, and we are now, it's been a month, and we are whining like it's been 10 years. Other countries have had to be locked down for longer. I'm sure we can handle it, but thank you for thanking us. Thank you goes a long way. The coronavirus pandemic has disrupted your lives and damaged the economy. Yeah. Its severity will continue to take a heavy toll in the weeks and months to come. So, Corona is around for months to come. The pandemic has resulted in the sudden loss of income for businesses and individuals alike, deepening poverty and increasing hunger. Now, I know I speak from a point of privilege. I have a roof over my head. I have food. I have Wi-Fi. It's expensive though, but I have Wi-Fi. But I'm not oblivious to the fact that I also have a small company, and this is very scary. I run a small business consultancy, and I'm unable to consult as much as I'd like because people are afraid, people are unsure, they're uncertain what will happen to their businesses as much as I'm uncertain what will happen to mine. The urgent and dramatic measures we have taken to delay the spread of the virus have been absolutely necessary. Now, if you follow how people die from this virus, you understand that the biggest issue is not being able to breathe and having your lungs filled with mucus. If you've ever drowned even for a millisecond, you still don't understand, have no inclination of how this feels. Not being able to breathe is a very painful way to die. Gasping for air is a very painful way to die. So the steps taken have been necessary and are still necessary to protect you and me. Okay, then we continue because I don't want to keep you up long. Let's go to line 24. To date, the coronavirus has taken the lives of at least 58 people in our country. This is a small number, insignificant compared to global scales, but not if it's your family member. One person is one person too much. 58, that's 58 people who've not been able to bury their loved ones in a manner that they used to, whether culturally, traditionally, religiously, because there's a pandemic and we don't get to do things the way we used to. And if it's not you yet, or not you at all, hopefully you never have to experience that, be sensitive. There are people who are grieving, who've not been given the opportunity to find closure by following their traditions and their cultures in burying and letting go of their loved ones. And then he went on to speak of the different phases. So, if you follow page 2, from line 37, the first phase began in mid-March. And the point of the first phase was to control the spread of the virus. Hence, we went into lockdown. It was scary, even though it was not yet our reality that there was this virus and people were getting infected left, right, and center. And we were still okay. But the minute it started to hit our grounds and we looked at the global trends, it was necessary to lock down. We don't have the capacity for over 100,000 sick people at one go. We're currently sitting at 3,000 and some odd, and we're already blinking uncomfortably. So the second phase, which he then said on line 43, we are now embarking on the second phase of our economic response to stabilize the economy, address the extreme decline in supply and demand, and protect jobs. So we are here. As part of this phase, we're announcing a massive social relief and economic package of 500 billion. All right. He later did a breakdown on how this money will be spent. But there's a third phase. The third phase is the economic strategy we will implement to drive the recovery of our economy as the country emerges from this pandemic. Okay? So, and then he went a little deeper into the second phase and what it involves. So, the second phase involves 4 things. Firstly, this is page 3. Firstly, an extraordinary health budget to respond to the coronavirus. So you know those free tests and community tests that are going to be done. They're not free. There are setup costs. There are personnel that need to be on there. There's procurement of protective gear. The list goes on. If you've ever done an event or something similar, you know that it's not just getting the people there that's the issue. It's everything behind the scenes that costs a lot of money for something to be remotely close to what you need it to be. Secondly, the relief of hunger and social distress. Again, I'm privileged. I have a roof, I have a home. I'm able to feed myself and my child. I have friends, not friends because we know each other, no, friends, people who are close to my heart, who are well loved by me, who are struggling to feed themselves and to feed their kids. So as much as it may seem like a lot of money going to people who are not myself, I am so happy because there's nothing as painful as feeling useless. And as much as I'd love to help, I find that sometimes I don't have enough. Thirdly, support for companies and workers. My ears were sharp in listening to this part. And fourthly, the phased reopening of the economy. Okay? So, the impact of the coronavirus requires an extraordinary coronavirus budget of around 500 billion to direct resources towards fighting the pandemic. Where's this money going to come from? This will include the This will include the here we go again with that English. Reprioritization. This will include the reprioritization of around 130 billion within the current budget. So there's a current budget we were told about last time. So 130 billion will now form part of this 500 billion. So 500 minus 130 gives us a remainder of 370. I used a calculator. So where's this money going to come from? So the 370 billion, the rest of the funds will be raised from both. The rest of the funds will be raised from both local sources, such as Unemployment Insurance Fund. I know you're thinking, oh no, what will happen to my UIF? Remember that rule that's always bothered me at the Department of Labor, that if you lose your job and you're unemployed, but you don't claim your UIF within 6 months, that it disappears into thin air and you can't get it anymore. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's where it's coming from. Why I say that? Because my mom worked for 20 years as an accounting officer at a large supermarket. And when she left her job, she didn't know this rule. So 20 years of UIF went down the drain. So that money is now, I'm supposing, I'm grasping at straws, but I'm hoping that, because I've also lost that money at some point, so I'm hoping that money is now being redirected to help out people. It makes me sleep at night to say this. Okay? And from global partners and international finance institutions. Yeah. To date, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, BRICS New Development Bank, and the African Development Bank have been approached and are working with the National Treasury on various funding transactions. Okay, so this is the part where you insert your conspiracy theories and whatnot. Insert here, yeah. But our reality is this. We are currently borrowing money to survive. And you know, nothing is for mahala. Okay? Then we continued. So we figured out where this 500 billion is coming from. Now he does a breakdown. Remember, number one, firstly, it was respond to health, right? So 20 billion is dedicated to addressing health efforts. Okay? That's all that stuff that I mentioned. Screening, additional beds in field hospital, ventilators, all that stuff, that just in case someone you know, or your family member gets sick, this stuff is available so they can get an opportunity to get well. Yes, insert your negative comments, blah, 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 but this is our reality. Okay, additional funding of 20 billion will therefore be made available to municipalities for the provision of emergency water supply, increased sanitation, public transport, and facilities, and providing food and shelter for the homeless. We're privileged to have a home. We're not blinded by the fact that other people don't have a home. And yes, we can mention that it's the choices that they've made. They shouldn't have, wouldn't have, couldn't have. It shouldn't. Yeah, whatever it is, it's late. The point is, we're here. This is what's going on. Shoulda, woulda, coulda doesn't help us. What does help is people need to be treated with dignity. People need to be seen. People need to be given an opportunity to live. Everyone wants a second chance or a fourth chance. to decide better. It may be just one person, even if it's just one person that changes, leaves drugs, finds themselves, chooses a better life. We would have done our job. We would have done a really good job. While we have put in place measures to protect the wages of workers in the formal economy and have extended support to small, medium, and micro-sized businesses, millions of South Africans in the informal economy and those without employment are struggling to survive. I have like I said, a business consultancy. Over half my clients have had to shut operations. My postgrad did not cover business growth strategies during a pandemic. We are all new to this. It's time to breathe, to look beyond just ourselves, and it's time to serve. We need to serve others. The more you just look at yourself and your perception of your circumstances, you're just feeding your anxiety and just borrowing time before you are depressed and stressed over something you cannot control. But what you can control is you can serve others. You can think of other people and not just yourself. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's possible. Right. Where are we? Page 4. Okay. Oh, this was the yummy part. This is the part where he told that child support grants will receive an extra 300 Rand in May, and from June to October, they will receive an additional 500 Rand. This is fantastic for people who want child support because, one, I've noticed, I live in KwaMashu. I've noticed I have a privilege of a car. Don't ask me how I'm paying for it. But I do have a privilege of a car with petrol most days. And I've noticed that shops in locations, in townships, have long queues almost every day. And prices are ridiculously inflated. Go to Boxer, go to Spar in the townships. Prices are ridiculously inflated. And sometimes simple things like fruit and vegetables are not of the best quality. I have the privilege of getting into my car and driving away from the township to do my groceries and not have to stand in long queues or whatever. This is my privilege. This to you may be like, this is to me, I'm privileged to do that, and I understand it's a privilege. Others are not. And before you go, oh my gosh, he's giving money to these people, they're always just taking from government and doing nothing. 400 Rand when the only mode of transport you have is a taxi, and you can't get to affluent places where there are people, they want to speak to the manager, I'm going to report you guys, your mayonnaise cannot be 50 Rand. 300 Rand more to 500 Rand more means a world of difference. It means, despite the circumstances and the greed of supermarket owners in places that you reside, you're still able to feed your family. Remember, this social grant doesn't just feed one person. Sometimes it's all the family has. Again, check your wallet, check your privilege, check your mindset. Okay? Remember, first, money is going into the health budget. Secondly, is the relief of hunger and social distress. Third is the support for companies and workers. We continue to provide assistance in the form of loans, grants, and debt restructuring to SMMEs, spaza shop owners, and other informal businesses. Now, before you go, why a loan? How are we going to pay that back? We have to be reasonable. At the end of all of this, we have to restructure and rebuild this country. It is not sustainable to have the entire country, the entire system permanently operate on a welfare mentality. We need reciprocity. To give, to take, to repay. It's the only way. And then don't say, I'm pulling a Somizine. Here on page is this? On page 6, it says, on Thursday, I will address the nation on the measures that will be taken beyond the nationwide lockdown to reopen the economy. So on Thursday, another address is coming. Know this one, print it out, understand what's going on, understand where you stand and your value in the whole value chain. He then says, our country and the world we live in will never be the same. This reminded me of an old joke. A woman had just given birth and had fallen asleep, and her husband then whispers to the nurse, Nurse, when will my wife behave normal again? And the nurse turned to him with a sad smirk and said, this is the new normal. So South Africa, there's going to be a new normal. Last page. We will forge a compact for radical economic transformation that ensures that advances the economic position of women, youth, and persons with disabilities, and that makes our cities, towns, villages, and rural areas vibrant centers of economic activity. If you rushed home to the farms when the virus hit, then this is the time to look around and look at your community needs and potential business opportunities where you are. Familiarize yourself with the ABC philosophy, or you could comment below and I'll do a video on what is it. But mostly it's about resource mobilization. And then he says, our new economy must be founded on fairness, empowerment, justice, and equality. Some of my clients are in IT, and if you know IT people, they love acronyms. So fairness, empowerment, justice, and equality. Feje. We must have a feje economy. And if you know I'm a feje, it must be a sweet economy. We will never be the same. We will never, ever be the same. I have faith in the strength and resilience of ordinary South Africans who have proven time and time again throughout history that we can rise to the challenge. I was born in the banana city, but we are certainly not sissies. We've always been stronger together. Okay, with a few that are suspect, but then every family has that one aunt or uncle who was dropped in the head. But I echo the president's words. If we hold on, if we continue to build and have the right mentality, we shall recover, we shall overcome, we shall prosper. And indeed, may God bless South Africa and protect her people. And I thank you.